And we're live. Hello guys, and welcome to Lee Stafford Education online. My name's Lee Stafford and I'm going to be your compere for the next hour. If you have any questions today, guys, about the recipe that you see or about any of the LSE recipes or anything to do with the hairdressing industry, then please feel free to ask questions in the chat box. We will try to answer all your questions. So please keep the questions coming. There's no such thing as a silly question. So any questions you've got, guys, about anything to do with the hair industry, just tell us what you're thinking, and me and Lydia will answer all your questions. So if you enjoy the presentation today, guys, then like the video. You can subscribe to this channel where you'll be notified when any new material is being dropped. So click the bell next to subscribe. I'd like to thank you guys for being here today. I know there's plenty of places you could be, so we really appreciate you spending some time with us. So thank you very much. So let's kick things off. So today's LSE staff is the Schwarzkopf Colour Zoom International Winner of the Year and twice UK winner. This young lady was mentored at the illustrious Tony Wood salon and has just recently opened her first salon with her husband in the New Forest. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Lydia Wolfe.
Hello.
Hello, Lydia.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Great to have you.
And thank you so much, everyone who is tuning in or does tune in, for giving up their time today to be here with us. And in return, I am going to be showing you our most requested color look of the season, which is a twist on the LSE recipe for head of highlights. We're going to be doing that by updating it with a creative toning technique.
Sounds great.
Wonderful. So if it's okay with you, should we just dive right in?
Go for it. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Amazing. So starting off with the LSE recipe for head highlights. So nothing different here, but we've finished 80% of it. We're on to our last section. And I'm going to show you something. I'm going to do a tiny bit different to upgrade your highlighting technique for the 2021 look. So starting at the front, obviously, we're going to take our first section, and this is what we're going to do a little bit different. Instead of it being a 1 centimeter section, we're going to take it half a centimeter, just for the first sort of 3 or so foils around the face. So it's going to be a little bit thinner than your normal section. Okay, and then we're going to do a very fine stitch. And it's going to be a deep stitch within the section. But it's just going to be a really fine stitch, and you might call this a microweave, or some people like to call it baby lights. So you may have heard the term baby lights before. It is one of the most requested things that we get asked for in the salon. And the reason that people love baby lights is because they really mimic the natural blonde that you get around your face if you go on holiday. So taking our foil, and not forgetting to go an inch wider. Oh, sorry.
I was just saying, so highlight is still a very popular technique in the salon.
Oh my gosh, massively. It is the technique that we do day in, day out for every single age group. So every season, you know, just something changes about blondes, but it all comes back to highlights and foils. You know, we've had big seasons of ombre and balayage. And don't get me wrong, I don't think ombre and balayage is going anywhere.
What do you think the mix is between highlight and balayage in your salon? What sort of percentage are you doing highlight and balayage?
I would say at the moment, 60-40 highlights to balayage. And the reason is because it's post-lockdown. Everyone wants high impact blonde. You know, they've been feeling really dull for a few months. So they want to come back and they want to see a big change. Ombre and balayage, the freehand techniques, are more subtle, warmer, natural techniques. But everyone's coming back and they want foils because foils are going to give us that boost of lightness. So I've noticing a lot of people mimicking ombre and balayage techniques, but using highlights and foils.
So they want it done right to the root, do they?
Oh, yeah. So they do want it right to the root, but this is what I'm going to show you with the creative toning technique. Because obviously when we're doing highlights, if you start it kind of halfway down a foil, you're going to get funny lines in the head and not that beautiful blend that you get with freehand techniques. So we're going to create the blend in the toning by doing a little twist on the LSE recipe root tint. So I'm just going to show you again. I've got my second foil, my second section, 0.5 centimetre, just for the first 3 around the face, and then my stitch really super fine. So we're going to have, because the section is fine, it's going to be really blonde, but because the stitch is really fine, it's going to be really natural and subtle around the face when they tie their hair back.
How was your colour done, Lydia? Lydia? And yeah. For your colour.
Sorry, what do I use for my colour?
What technique did you use to get that?
Dip
dye. Is it dip dye?
Yeah, it is dip dye. And I have just used, a freehand ombre technique. But instead of using bleach on dark hair, I've used black on blonde hair.
I do like it. Did you check out that Kachagoogoo reference?
Of course I did. The minute we finished our Zoom call the other day. So Lee compared me to Kachagoogoo the other day, and I thought, oh, I'm going to have to Google that reference because it might be a little bit before my time. And it was a 80s mullet with the same colours as mine, and I absolutely love it. So that's my next haircut. I'm going full Kachagoogoo.
Are you really? So this is a classic LSE highlight technique you're doing. This is a classic LSE highlight technique you're doing now.
This is the LSE technique down to a T. I haven't changed a single thing about it. The only twist is the size of my section. Instead of 1 centimetre sections, we're doing 0.5 centimetre sections for the first 3 foils around the face. Everywhere else, we've just done as normal, and we've done medium size weaves. So I've done my first 3 baby lights, And now we're going to take centimetre sections. So this is just our normal LSE recipe technique for the highlights. And we're going to take now a deep stitch and a thick weave. And the reason we want to do this is because we want the most impact of blonde and the strongest colour for the rest of the head. But that might not be very natural, but we're going to create the natural effect with the toning, with our little twist on the root tint, which I call a root smudge. So we can go really high impact, really, really thick with these highlights because, you know, our clients are post-lockdown, their roots are really big, they really want loads of blonde and loads of impact.
Lydia, tell me this, is it better for the salon as far as profit and loss to do highlights over balayage?
So that is an excellent question. I personally feel that if you're doing amazing balayage, your clients are going to come in less regularly, but they're going to recommend more friends. So for all the appointments that they're missing because they're not coming in every 6 weeks, there's a new client coming in to fill all of those spots because they've got such a beautiful balayage that everyone else wants it too.
Gotcha.
So I do understand that people are a little bit worried with all of these more natural grow out techniques, but if you can really nail them, then you're going to get famous in the community for being the best balayage colorist in town.
Gotcha. So you've just recently opened your salon, Lydia.
I did, yeah. So 2 years ago now, I opened my own salon, and that was with my husband. And then obviously we've had a bit of a rocky first couple of years because of the pandemic, but we were able to expand the salon and come back bigger and better than ever. So now I've got a whole team, including 2 apprentices who are absolutely amazing and wow me every day with their training.
And tell me this, I know we were speaking just before we come on about how you've gone from like a really successful stylist working in a salon to now a salon owner and managing people. What do you think is the biggest challenge you've found managing people?
I think the biggest challenge is that everyone is an individual and they want different rewards. They want something different out of their career or out of their day job. And you need to work out really early on what that is, so that you can create a great give and take relationship with them. So you can set your boundaries and say, this is what I want from you. And they can say, okay, this is what I want in return. And the expectations are going to be met on both sides.
So have you had to pull anyone in the office and reprimand them yet?
I have. I'm the worst at it.
I used to give people a pay rise and a 2-week holiday. I was terrible at it as well.
yeah. I go in and I'm like, right, be stern, be strict, and I can't. I'm a complete melt. So amazing. I'm not going to bore you with the rest of this section because we can all reference to the LSE full head highlights video anytime. But just to recap, my first 3 foils around the face were half a section thick and were really, really fine weaves, really micro weaves, so that you get that baby light effect around the face. And you're going to see exactly what that looks like at the end. And then we're just going to fast forward now to she's developed. We've shampooed her, we've conditioned her, and here she is, all developed and dried off, and now ready for toning. Now, I have pre-done the back sections with the LSE root tint recipe, and I've done this with a quasi-permanent colour. And so I'm going to move on to the front sections.
And if anyone's got any questions for Lydia on myself, then please feel free, guys. There's no such thing as a silly question. We certainly won't make you feel silly for any questions that you ask. So if you're in class now and you want to ask a question, and I'm sure your college trainer will ask for you.
Yeah, please fire away. I'd love to share anything that I can help you with. And anything about the recipes or color in general. Also, I know that you guys have just done the Lee Stafford Education competition, and competitions is something that I'm really passionate about, and I've done really well in the past. It's done loads for my career. So if you have any questions about competitions or anything like that, I'd love to share that with you. But yeah, so a full head of highlights later. You can see what we've done with the really, really thick weaves to create that as much blonde as possible. Whoop, we lost an AirPod, sorry. And then with the finer baby lights around the face, so it just looks really, really natural where we need it. So I'm just going to retrieve my AirPod. There we go. It all happens on live, doesn't it?
Certainly does.
Cool. So just continuing on with our Lee Stafford Education root tint recipe. Outlining our front quadrant now. And the color that I've selected is my client's natural base. So her natural base level is a 7. And I've gone one tone more ash than her natural base. So she's a 7N or a 7O. And I've gone for a 7NA in quasi or demi-permanent, dependent on what your salon or college refers to it as. And we're coming down in our diagonal sections towards the face. So important to work really neat, but also really important to work nice and fast because she's already had a full head of highlights. So we want to get this color on quickly and as evenly as possible.
So how long would this take you to do this technique in the salon, Lydia?
So I actually personally like to do this on wet hair at the basin. That's how I do it the most.
Right.
Depends on what kind of result that you're looking to achieve. You can do it on wet hair, but obviously that's going to dilute your color more for a more see-through effect, which is really nice on top of highlights. So you've still got that really blended, natural effect. And then, yeah, if we're doing it on wet hair at the basin, it's going to take a little bit quicker because the cuticle's all open because it's nice and warm, and we're not going to have to dry it first. So usually this takes me about 15 to 20 minutes.
Gotcha.
I've seen a question pop up.
Yeah, we've got a question from Lisa Lewis. She says, would you give us some tips on getting a great photo or style cut for a competition?
Oh, yeah, of course. So the photo is one of the most important aspects of the whole competition entry, because you can create the most beautiful thing that anyone's ever seen, but if you can't pick it up in the camera, then it's no use to you, sadly. So dependent on the competition that you're entering, some will require a professional photographic entry, in which case you're going to need to find a really good professional photographer. But that doesn't necessarily have to mean that it needs to be the most expensive one. You know, it could be a student who is studying photography at university and needs some practice and wants to build their portfolio. But also there's a lot of competitions now because of COVID accepting iPhone entries. So my big tips, if you're entering iPhone entries into competitions, is that you get your lighting really, really good. So either photograph it in the daylight or get a little ring light or some lighting set up. Oh yeah, and the other thing is take it against a white wall if you can, or a white background, so everything really pops.
And how important is the model in the photo competition?
Very, very, very important. Your model choice is as important as everything. So the important things are the hair, the color, the cut, the style, the makeup, the photography, the model. They all have to be as strong as each other. So you need either to be a really great creative or surround yourself with other good creatives, like a good photographer, like a good makeup artist. They can be friends, they can be students, but everything needs to be as strong as each other.
And what impact did it have on your career and your life winning them big competitions?
Well, I've been so lucky. As a result of winning competitions, it's meant that I've been featured in magazines and industry publications. It's also brought a great kind of buzz to the salon that I worked in at the time, and really inspired all of my teammates. And yeah, it gave me a lot of confidence in myself and my ability, made me feel really, really achieved and like I could really go somewhere with this hairdressing thing. Yeah, and it is most of all, it challenged me to try something different, and everything else was a bonus.
And did it cost you how much did it cost you to enter that competition?
So I was really lucky the first time around to be accepted onto a mentorship program. So a lot of product companies like L'Oreal, Redken, Goldwell, Schwarzkopf, they do these amazing mentorships for young people that you should totally try and get on board with, and really push yourself to enter these things. And that actually paid for my first photo shoot. So I was able to get on that through working at a good salon, because not all salons offer these opportunities. If this is something you're really interested in, find a salon that pushes their staff members to go for these opportunities.
And I suppose that's a lovely link into...
Do you recommend doing level 3 hairdressing in salon or in college? I did it in college personally, but I found when I joined a salon afterwards, having no salon experience, that I really wished that I'd had more salon experience before I was qualified. Kind of felt like I've been thrown in the deep end. But saying that, it just brought me more challenges to get through. And, I was lucky enough to be with a good salon that had the patience to let me grow a little bit before I was taking on lots of clients. But
so did you go from college straight into a stylist job?
Yes, I did.
So I suppose it largely depends on the quality of the college and the salon, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, on both.
Yeah.
I think if it brought new challenges, not having the salon experience of an apprenticeship, but I had a great salon that had good training when I got there. But also, I had great mentors at my college that gave me the tools that I needed to build on when I started in a salon. So I'm just going to cut back to my mannequin head. So I've done my front quadrant of my root tin, but here's the twist. I'm going to leave the front section around the hairline completely. I'm not going to color that with the root tin. So the effect that we're going to get is more lightness around the face, all the way up to the root.
Nice.
But everywhere else, we're going to get the root smudge.
So what colour is that that root smudge? Because we've got a question here from Hannah. She said, what made you choose that? Oh, there's the answer there, 7NA and not a warmer tone.
So I chose the 7NA because it's just one tone more ash than her natural. So if she was very, very warm, then I wouldn't necessarily go for a 7NA. I might go for a 7N. But the reason is that I just wanted to flatten it ever so slightly, because obviously when you're lifting and you're pre-lightening, you get bright undercoats, so you get, you know, yellow or orange. So I just wanted to neutralize it ever so slightly, but not too much. So nothing too ashy. You know, we want it to look really natural. We don't want it to look really flat or contrasting.
Well, tell me this, Lydia, you've done the highlights very, very close to the roots. But
Yes.
then you're putting a tint over the roots. Was it necessary to go that close to begin with?
Great question. So this result, when it's dry, you are actually going to be able to see that there's highlights underneath. Because we're not going really dark, and because we're not going in with a permanent, we're going in with like a semi-gloss. You are going to be able to see the highlights underneath, the multi-tonal kind of striations underneath. So if there's any blocky color work under there, it is going to be visible. However, this is a really good technique. You know, if you're still learning to get your highlights perfect to the root, then it will blend it a little bit. It will smudge it out a little bit.
We've got a question here from Zoe Lees, who said, what products do you use in your salon, Lydia, and why?
So my salon uses Goldwell products, Goldwell and KMS. Why? Because it is what I used in the salon that I came from, Tony Wood. I really fell in love with it there. They have a great big portfolio with lots of options, which sold to me because I'm a big color fan. But also because they are the people that I entered competitions with. So I've grown a great community within the Goldwell family. But equally, you know, throw me color from any color brand any day and I'll try it. I love trying new things and seeing new technologies.
And we've got a question here from Lisa Lewis again. She said, do the mentorships have an age bracket or are they available for all ages? I'm 39.
So the industry is changing in terms of age, definitely, because it used to be, I mean, certainly when I first started out, there was quite an age limit on things, and I didn't start hairdressing till I was 19. So I was already a few years older than a lot of other people in my class. But the attitude towards age brackets is really changing. So a lot of the time, rather than saying you have to be, say, under 25 or under 30, they're now saying under 5 years experience or under 6 years experience or something. So keep an eye out, have a look. The industry is definitely changing.
Any other questions you've got from Lydia, guys, then please feel free, keep them coming.
Yeah, I'm loving all your questions, everyone. Fab. So once again, I've just left out the very hairline. Is that nice and clear for you guys?
Yeah, looks good.
So, you know, with our root tint recipe, we're working from the center, we're working towards the front, and then I'm just leaving out the very hairline. And now we've got her root smudge on. We need to work through the ends. So for this look, we could choose lots of different toners. We could do a golden blonde, or this season's blonde is buttermilk, which is what Billie Eilish has just had done and she's blown up the internet with. So you could do the Instagram buttermilk blonde. We could go for an icy blonde or a grey or silver, or we could go for, fashion colors like copper or pink or lilac, obviously I've chosen pink because this is Lee Stafford Education. So we are going to work through now to the ends with our applicator bottle and our pink toner. And I am going to be using the toning technique that you guys will find at the end of the ombre recipe, just again with a little twist. So everything I'm doing is from the Lee Stafford recipes, and then I've just twisted it a little bit for this 2021 modern edge to the look.
Tell me this, Lydia, do you think the buttermilk blonde is going to catch on?
100 million %. It was time. I think people have started to realize that ash is kind of dark and doesn't suit everyone. So people are embracing the brighter, golder tones now and kind of throwing it back to the 90s, seeing so much of that in fashion. So working from our center back parting in a diagonal from the center back, taking our first section. And then I'm just going to use my comb just to comb through that root section once. So all the way down in one motion. And that means that we're not going to get any lines in the hair, but we are just going to smudge out that root a tiny, tiny bit. And then going on with our applicator bottle and creating that S shape. So working our way through the back with the applicator bottle and our S toning technique. It looks such a fabulous color already, doesn't it?
Love it.
And I'm also using my finger actually just to kind of blend the two together at the top, just to make sure it's all saturated. We don't have any patches of with no saturation in. And a little thing that I'm going to do differently than the recipe is that normally we would create a horseshoe and work back in the horseshoe. But because we've got a dark color on the root that we don't want to get anywhere else, we're not going to do the horseshoe. We're just going to work all the way up to the parting. So we're kind of breaking the rules a little bit on the recipes, but only because we know why. There's a reason why.
What brand is your toner? Asked Zoe Lydia.
This is a Goldwell toner, and it's called Pastel Rose. Is everyone using different toners in their different color brands in their salons and in their colleges?
What toners are you using, guys? So do you mainly colour in the salon, Lydia, or do you cut as well?
Everyone in my salon does both.
Right.
So we all do both colour and cut, but everyone in my salon each has a specialism too. So if people want to go to the best person for colour or the best person for cutting because they want to have a restyle or something really specialised, then they can choose either myself or Kat for colour, and they can choose my husband Jack or our other stylist Ben for cut if they want to have, a specialist for that.
So does Jack do colour as well?
He does indeed.
Yeah. And
he does this technique all the time too.
And what do you prefer, Lydia? You prefer colouring?
I do. I do. If I had to choose, if you put me on the spot and I had to choose, colour is my favourite, but I could never turn my back on cutting completely.
And what sort of cuts do you find you're doing in the salon at the moment?
Oh, so many bobs, so many one length aboves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that everyone's been stuck in lockdown, haven't they, with their long, straggly haircuts, and they're just coming off. So they're coming in to have real inches off, which is so satisfying. Lots of makeovers.
So where do you think hair will go next? Because it's been long now for a long time, excuse the pun. Where do you think it will go next? Do you think it's going to be the lob?
Do you know, I don't think long ever completely goes out. I think that, if anything, I'm seeing less lobs as time goes on and more short bobs, more chin length bobs. Like people really going for it. So obviously now that I've reached the side of her head and in front of the ear, I'm not going in a diagonal anymore. I'm actually going in vertical sections, and they're all coming back away from the face so that we stay nice and neat with our color.
And would this be done at the backwash as well, Lydia, normally?
Yeah, you can do. I think it's so important that we, tell you guys what it's really like in salons, and time is pressured. So, doing things at the backwash, for instance, are going to buy you some time. And also, product companies are inventing products to work for the stylist and work for a commercial environment. So most of our products and toners are designed to go on wet hair at the backwash. And it means also that you can be really clean and really neat with your work. It's not going to go all over the floor. It's not going to go all over a client in an awkward position. They're, completely back and ready for you to pour color all over them, basically.
And is there some toners that you can't put on wet hair?
Yes. Yeah. So, always follow manufacturer's instructions, unless, you've been told by the manufacturer you can break the rules. But these toners that I'm using are designed to either go on dry hair or wet hair. You can do both. Whatever's suited.
What's the advantage of going on wet or dry?
So, water dilutes color. And, it dilutes the developer, so you can either use that to your advantage by making more of a translucent effect, which is kind of what you want sometimes. You want the toner to be translucent so you can see all the lovely highlights. But it comes with a little bit of unpredictability because it's not the way the color's necessarily designed to be used. So if you're going on dry hair, you're going to get full coverage. It's going to come out exactly like it says in the swatch book. So I guess that just comes with experience, really. Yeah. So now for my front sections, I am obviously applying still in my S away from the face and off the root. But then, after I've smudged it all through the ends, I'm going to take what's left over on my hand and just use that like a tint brush to go right up to the face frame and smudge it right in.
Tell me this, Lydia, when you're in the salon, styling's become such a big thing now. When you're doing the colouring and the cutting, does the colouring take much, does the styling take up much time in the appointment now? You're struggling to fit it all in?
Yes. Yeah, I think it depends on the client and the client request. But yeah, so often people come in with pictures or expectations of things they've seen in magazines. And sometimes, you know, that's going to add an extra challenge for you because you've got to cut and blow dry and color and do all of those things. And you don't want to compromise on any of those things. You definitely don't want to compromise on the quality of the cut and color, because when they go home and wash their hair, the styling's gone. Yeah. So if anything, I sometimes have to kind of manage my clients' expectations with the styling a little bit and say, tell you what you want. You want a perfect cut. So we're going to wrap, dry and straighten this. Check the cut is bang on. And then we're going to do some straightener waves or a twisted tongue instead of that big Hollywood blow dry that you fancy. And, you know, they'll either go, you're absolutely right, I definitely want the cut to be perfect. I mean, I say that they're either going to go 99.9% of the time. Obviously, they're going to say that. Or they'll say, no, you know, I just want the blow dry because I've got a really big event tonight. I'll come back for the cut next week.
That makes sense. I think you've already answered this, but maybe, God, how do you pronounce that? Is it, help me out here, Lydia.
Is it Keris?
Keris? Is that it, Keris? I hope we've got that right, Keris. What is the most popular colour people are choosing to have at the moment?
So for us, it is all about high impact blonding at the moment. People kind of want that balayage effect still, but I think that balayage has moved on. Even in, I mean, fashion is always changing. Am I right, Lee? Like literally on a weekly basis, people come in wanting something new. And that's kind of how you learn the new trends. Actually, for me, I'd learn from the clients because I see a trend in what they're asking for. And yeah, I think, you know, I was doing freehand balayage all day, every day. And then in the past year, you know, since the pandemic, it's all flipped for me to foiling. So people sometimes want that balayage look, but they want to create it with foils and highlights.
And what toner are you using the most in the salon? Is it a silver toner? Is it a purple? Is it the buttermilk? What are people going for the most, do you think?
So probably 50-50 between just a neutralizing kind of violet toner that just gives them that creamy, clean blonde and buttermilk. We've got so many people at the moment coming in saying, I want some gold in my hair.
Oh, really?
Yeah, kind of moving away from the icy thing, I think, and the ashy thing.
So where is your salon located again? There's a question now.
So we are located in the New Forest, which is a beautiful spot in Hampshire on the south coast. So we're right next to the boats and the sea, and we're surrounded by a beautiful national park with wild horses in.
Wow.
The horses run wild here. They stop traffic. It's hilarious.
Really?
And donkeys. There's wild donkeys as well.
A nice place to live, eh?
It's beautiful, yeah. Where are you guys joining us from today?
Where are you guys today? Please let us know what college you're in. If you're watching it from college or if you're at home, please let us know.
Thank you so much again, guys, for joining us. You know, it's so lovely, especially for those at home for tuning in.
Well, Lisa's in Newtown in Wales. Are you at Lisa or are you at home watching this? Abingdon and Whitney.
Oh, hi. Hi, Abingdon and Whitney.
So how long has the silver toning been fashionable now, Lydia? How long has it been going on for?
Oh, that's such a good question. I would say that silver really hit it big in the salon for me. Oh, hi from sunny Southsea. I know Southsea very well. Yeah, so I reckon it's been a solid 5 years of silver and greys, which came with so many challenges as a hairdresser, because you have to get it such a perfect icy white to achieve those greys and silvers on top of. And it took a lot of cracking to find the techniques to get that perfect icy white. But you know, something I think is really important from my personal point of view for people learning the hairdressing trade, but also for educating your clients, is that ash doesn't actually suit everybody, and you can't always achieve it on every hair type as well. So you might have to really, you know, really lift the hair to get it light enough, and then actually it's, you know, either very damaged from lifting it too light, or it still has a lot of warmth underneath it. So when they wash their hair, it starts to go a bit green, where the silver grey is lightening and revealing the warm underneath. So I'm kind of glad that it's going out of fashion a little bit. Don't get me wrong, it looks amazing on some people. So yeah, just coming to my front sections again now. So I'm vertical and working back.
You got it right, Lydia. Well done.
Yay! I thought so. I do know a couple of kerrises. I'm glad I didn't embarrass myself there.
We've got that. Thank you, Cerise. Is that right? Have I said that right? My dyslexia is going into overdrive.
So, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it might be Kerris.
Kerris.
Kerris. And I think it might be Irish.
Is that right, Kerris?
Is that an Irish name? So we're moving on to our last sections, and I'm applying the toner, you know, away from the root, and then working up with my hand towards the root, so that we can get higher where we need to go right up to the hairline, where we've done our face frame. You might see this referred to as the money piece, when you have a blonde, like, face frame.
That's very 90s as well, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's
all coming back. It all comes back around.
Certainly is. So tell me this, you're in partnership with your husband. Do you find it hard to switch off and not talk shop in the evenings?
Yes. Is the answer. Very simple answer. We just talk shop all the time.
Yeah.
I like to think that maybe it will get less when things smooth out one day.
Yeah.
Does that ever happen?
No.
Oh, there you go. The good thing is we're both. Sorry?
Go on, what was that?
We're really both mega passionate. So it's all we want to talk about. So that's good.
Yeah, it's good to have that common interest, right?
Totally. I'm so lucky in that way. And I love all my friends are hairdressers as well, because then we can just all talk about hair all the time. Amazing. So she is all finished and applied with her toner. And that is going to develop for whatever your manufacturer's instructions are for the toning. This is 25 minutes for us. So we're going to fast forward 25 minutes again. And are you ready to see the finished look?
Yes, please.
So she's had a twisted tongue, and here she is.
Oh, that looks gorgeous.
So can you see how she has this really soft, melted root, and then still this really strong, brighter piece around the face?
Lovely.
Beautiful Lee Stafford pink everywhere. But this is just, like I say, this is the look that we're getting requested the most in salon at the moment. People want the brightness of highlights and foils, but they want that cool girl, lived in Instagram look. And you get that with this little root shadow, which also means that it's a bit lower maintenance for them as well.
And tell me this, when this washes out, will you lose that dark piece on the root and the pink?
Yeah, so the darker on the root will fade a little bit, and the pink will fade the most because that's much lighter. So the pink will eventually fade completely back to blonde. But the darker root will probably fade up to a lighter version of what it is. So it will still stay soft as it grows out.
And I suppose if someone's got grey hairs, it's going to cover the greys and look really natural, right?
Exactly. So it's a really great blending method. It's quite hard when you're looking at all of these Instagram and Pinterest photos with your clients to work out what techniques you need to merge together, because sometimes they may come to you with not just one problem to solve. They might have 3 or 4 different problems to solve. So they might have old color, but grey hairs as well. So you kind of think, oh, well, I need to use highlights to lift out the old color, but I also need to put something in to cover the grey. So this is a really good technique for somebody who's trying to battle those 2 things as well.
And what about when you come to highlight the roots again? You can lift that up quite easy, can you, on top of that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it will just lift out really easily. We've not used a permanent, we've used a quasi, and also we've gone for something similar to her natural base. If her natural base was, say, below a 5, then we might have more trouble or more warmth to combat with when we lift it out. But it would only be the same amount of warmth that we'd be combating putting the highlights in as well. Keris is a Welsh name. That was it. Well done.
That looks amazing, Lydia. I mean, it looks so sort of commercial, but cool.
Yes, exactly. It's that cool girl, lived in blonde, but so bright and selfie ready. And yeah, just imagine this look, but without the pink. Imagine it with a grey or a silver. Imagine it with a really bright blonde. And yeah, this little money piece at the front with your baby lights.
I love that.
It's a winning.
I love that. It really kind of breaks it up, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people don't mind having these darker looks with the balayage as long as they get that blonde around their face. That's why we call it the money piece, because if you can get that right, that's what everyone comes back for time and time again, and they'll pay you lots of money for.
What do you charge for this in the salon?
So I would charge this as a full head of highlights. And we include a toner in our highlights price. but I would also add on a root melt as well. So we actually have that because it's that popular. We have it on our price list. Root melt is a separate price. And she's also had, you know, a cut and blow dry as well. So altogether, this would come in at with a higher up stylist, with a senior stylist, would come in at around kind of £180 ish, and then slightly less with our less qualified apprentices. Lovely color effect. Oh, thank you so much.
Getting a lot of love here, Lydia.
Well, I hope you love it. And also, you know, it's really the twist is just tiny little hacks. These are just all your Lee Stafford recipe techniques.
Wonderful. You've done a great job, Lydia. I mean, it really does look beautiful, and you presented exceptionally, I must say. You've done a fantastic job. So thank you very much. And it's lovely to have a girl present.
Thank you so much. Yes. Yeah, representing for the girls.
Exactly. So thank you very much for your time, Lydia, and all the effort that you've put into that. It really is lovely on behalf of me and all the students and trainers at all the colleges. So thank you very much, Lydia. And thank you guys for watching, everybody for watching, wherever you are in the college and at home. We'll be doing this again. I think we're doing one next Monday, or we'll be doing one again very soon. So tune in, guys, and have a lovely week. And you, Lydia.
Thank you so much, Lee. Thank you for having me. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
Okay, guys, take care. Look after yourself. Bye. Take care.